Hello everyone. CA Ankit Bajaj this side on behalf of Skill Edge. Trust all you are doing well. Today CA Sailendra Marathi sir is with us and he is co-founder of Skill Edge. So sir is having 25 years of corporate and teaching experience in finance domain. And today we will be discussing about the skill set required in finance to get a better placement in corporates. So, sir, I would like to ask few questions which usually student they want to ask from some experts, right, sir? So, the very first question which I want to ask you that what are the basic skill sets which are required to get a better placement in finance job or in finance placement?
Right. So, sir, before I answer those specific, skill sets, I would like to first clarify that there is a difference between knowledge and skills, correct? So,
Yeah.
understanding something. So, I can get knowledge by reading books, for example, or listening to a YouTube video, talking to someone, correct? So, it is a by and large one-way process. I understand, this is how, for example, companies beta is worked out, or this is value at risk model, right? Or this is how the financials are analyzed, and there's a difference from that with respect to skills, right? So what employers today are looking at is skills. Now, just to take the example from another domain, if my motorcycle is not getting started, let's say it's a winter morning and it's not starting, correct? So I know it's probably a problem with the battery or starter or something like that, correct? Now, will I go to somebody who's a very highly qualified professor in a university, who understands how the entire automobile stuff works, or will I go to the next door mechanic, right, who is probably not even qualified, right, but he is able to solve my problem, correct? So that is the difference between knowledge and skills. So skills means you are having something which is hands on, which can be used to solve a specific problem, right? So that is one fundamental distinction which I would like to make upfront, before we talk about skills. So skills is the ability to do things, right, to actually implement, whereas knowledge is the awareness, and both are important, right? So knowledge is also as important, because without knowledge you cannot have skills, right? So that is one thing. Now, fundamentally, what are the skills for an analyst, right? So there are different kind of analyst job profiles. So it's not just one single analyst job profiles. In the finance context, right, uh, we have job titles like finance analyst, right, who work in typically, let's say, manufacturing companies, food tech companies, health tech companies, who look at, let's say, the profitability from a particular customer segment, particular geography, right? They look at, how the pricing changes are impacting the customer acquisition, cost of a customer acquisition, cost of delivery, right? So these are typically called finance analysts, and main skills that they need is, about defining the problem, designing a model to solve that problem, and forecasting the profitability of the company. But if you are, let's say, an analyst with let's say, a private equity or a venture capital fund, then there's slightly different skills you need in addition to these skills, right? Which is around, ability to research the market, right? Analyze the data from the market, look at different companies, and then, maybe value the equity, value the debt, right? So it's a wide spectrum of things, and you need broadly skills around, the financial analysis, right? Financial modeling, business valuation, understanding of financial instruments valuation and their risk management. Things like, for example, how to conduct research analysis and how to write the research reports, right? So that you can present to the customer or to senior management and help them take decisions. So it's a wide variety of skills.
Okay, sir. Another question which I want to ask you: does basic concepts plays an important role? Because we have taken PI several times. Students they basic concepts plays important role.
Yes. So see, from the concept point of view, so there are few things which, if I'm hiring somebody, I will look for in the person, right? So one is the communication. When typically in the interview, when I ask, can you introduce yourself in 2 minutes or 3 minutes, right? I'm how well is the candidate prepared? Is he able to communicate and give the concise, snapshot of what he is, right? Or he or she is. That's one thing. The second thing I look for is the comprehension. Is he able to understand my questions, etc., right? And third is, as you say, the technical knowledge, right? So technical knowledge around, concepts, whether basic concepts or advanced concepts. So if somebody is not having even the very good understanding of basic concepts, is not able to articulate them well, not able to give the examples, I will definitely not select that candidate, right? It's 100% out. If I am, looking for somebody who's an analyst, I will expect him to understand how working capital management works, how the cost of capital is worked out, right? For example, how the basic analysis is done by using ratios. Where is the the data available for the companies, right? So how to read the annual reports. So I will look at it as very, very, very basic concepts that every finance analyst must bring to the table. If not, I will typically close the interview within 15 minutes, right? I'll say thank you very much and we'll come back to you. Our HR will contact you, right? I will not even waste my time. The same way it works across the globe. My son appeared for the NDA, National Defense Academy interviews. Typically, if the interview is over 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, that means your chances of getting selected are very high. People will not waste time with you if you don't understand basic concepts. I will not say thank you very much. I will smile and I will stop the interview, right? So the basic concepts are very, very important. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So another question which I want to ask you, usually when students they join college or when they join any this learning courses, so they get confused because in financial analyst there are different roles available like credit analyst or equity analyst. So they get confused at which profile they should select. So how they should decide this thing initially?
Right, right. So see, these in our in Skillage, what we think is these are a family of jobs, right? So all these require a knowledge, very analytical bend of mind, those skills, analysis skills, and you require finance skills, right? So these two things, and they combine to give you, as you said, equity analyst, credit analyst, and different kind of profiles. So that's the fundamental thing that we think, right? And for the students, my personal recommendation would be, don't get so fixated on a specific job profile, right? Some students, because they have been doing some stock trading and they are excited, somebody made so much money, they think that the equity analyst profile is the best thing to do, right? So don't get fixated. That would be my personal advice. You be in that space, right? Bring those skills to the table, right? And then be open to be, sort of accepting little bit different profile. The reason is, maybe you will get a very good organization, you will get a better pay, you will get a better career progression than being in a specific job profile. If I'm very, very determined, I want to be only credit analyst, then I'm narrowing my opportunities, correct? But the skill sets are really similar. As I explained to you earlier, this is like financial statement analysis, valuation, the discounting of the cash flows. They remain the same across all these profiles. So I will advise them to be slightly, they should understand the difference between the job profiles, definitely the nuances, but be a little bit open at the start of your career, because it is good to get a good company, good remuneration, and the most important thing, are you in a place which is giving you best learning opportunity? Because your next step is going to depend on what you learned in your first job, right? If you don't learn much on your first job, you are not going to get much in the second job, correct? So yes, understanding these differences is important. In the courses that we offer, credit analysts come and talk to people, equity analysts come and talk to people, finance analysts come and talk to, they understand these nuances. But again, I think they should be slightly open to navigate within this spectrum of opportunities. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, most of the students, what they do, let's suppose if they want, they are more interested towards equity profile, but they are getting job for a corporate finance profile. They are getting job for both the profile. One company is offering them credit profile, and second company is offering them corporate finance profile. The corporate finance, if they are joining corporate finance company where they are getting corporate finance role, so they might be getting 7 lakh rupees package. But if they are joining equity profile, and that company is giving 5 lakh rupees package, and the interest area of student is equity. But what most of the students they do, they shift towards corporate finance profile because that company is offering more remuneration. So is it a good decision, or they should focus on equity profile only when?
Yeah. So there are two, three things. So as I said, the company that you work with is very important, your employer, because for example, typically good employer will invest in upskilling you, correct? They will give you a lot of, they will give an open working environment, they will be willing to transfer you within that skill set, transfer you to other jobs, right? You will have good people mentoring us. So company is very important. Remuneration is also very important, right? The reason is your X remuneration determines, whether you will get 1.5x in the next job, right? So I will not discount that. This is something that people are shy of admitting. Some people say, just look at the job profile, your passion. No, it's not like that. Unfortunately, life doesn't work like that, right? So remuneration also is important, right? As this. And then third, look at your passion, right? But that I'll put third. See, because many times at the young age, you don't know your passion, right? You think this is my passion because you saw some movie and you are fascinated by that. You think, equity trade is a good opportunity. Maybe being in a corporate setup is very good, right? So look at these three things, the learning opportunities, the remuneration, and also the passion. And don't just put too much weight on passion. I know on YouTube, etc., you will find a lot of guys giving GAN saying passion is important. Don't worry about money. Money will come. No, unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. You have to get married. You have to get educated. Your children will be there. Your home loan EMIs will be there. So take practical, decisions that will help you, right? And put these things in the correct order. Company, then the learning opportunity, and then the remuneration, right? So all these things are very, very important, and passion is also important. Because see, if I don't like the job at all, I can't do the job, right? So most of us who are intellectually bent, right? See, once I decide I want to be, doing physical labor, any physical labor, by and large, I'm okay, right? By and large, right? But if I'm an intellectual person who wants to do some kind of a thinking, some kind of analysis, which typically analysts do, then I have a little bit of preferences, right? But I have to understand, how much should I pay attention to my passion? Because many times, after 10 years, you realize this is not my passion, right? Which is a reality. People shift their jobs, entirely change their career after 10 years. So they don't know their passion. So they have to be conscious of this, that what they think as their passion may not be their passion at all at that point in time. So look at these very practical, hardcore things: company, remuneration, job profile, learning. They are as important as the passion.
So it's a very important move before selecting any profile. Yeah. So, sir, right now we are discussing about finance analyst job. So, do you think that analytics is equally important to for this profile?
Right. So there is a certain degree of confusion about analytics itself, right? So analytics, when I say, am I talking of hardcore programming mindset, the the understanding and concepts about R language or Python? So that's a different kind of a thing, right? But analytics doesn't essentially mean that, right? I can be very good in Excel and I can conduct a lot of analysis of data, right? Excel has a lot of capabilities, but of course, this Python, etc., give you different kind of capabilities. So you have to understand which is more important to you, right? Where are you focusing? Ideal profile would be somebody who understands finance very well and understands technology and engineering also very well, right? You can write a very good code in Python or R or some other language. He has knowledge of databases plus understanding of finance. But typically, this happens after 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the career. At the start of the career, typically somebody will come with one of these profiles, engineering, programming, right? Python, or finance, accounting, commerce, decision making, evaluation. They will come with these. That's how they will start. Slowly, they might, discover their passion and maybe combine both. Those who can do both, they are most valued. It's very simple. So if you can do both at the start, do it. Typically 80-90% of us cannot do that. We start with one, and then we, sort of, if we are okay with other, we acquire more analytical capability. But basic analytics capabilities are must for an analyst, right? So being able to define the problem, being able to do some kind of a critical thinking, get the data, research it, and give the decision support is basic analytics skill, which every analyst must have. Whether you understand Python or not is not important for that.
Okay. Sir, in Skill Age, we regularly take personal interviews of students, and also we schedule mock GDs, and we give them, we ask them to prepare some videos on relevant topics, right? So are these activities are important for a student to get a better placement?
See, absolutely. See, your career starts when you get the first, right job, correct? Because there are 2, 3 things that happen. You get a good pay, you get a good environment, you get learning opportunities and faster, career or progression either vertically or horizontally, right? Lateral, right? So getting the first job is very important. First thing, getting the first right job, right? Because I speak to a lot of students who come to our courses because, let's say they are working in a job which is with a global bank. I'll not take the names, but their work profile is, involved around checking some documents and ticking something here and there, right? Nothing wrong. Okay. First thing is all jobs are worth respect, right? Any job, it is manual job or something, but the opportunities for progress will get limited if you don't learn much, right? So look at those kind of jobs which give you learning opportunity, because first job is very important, but what you learn in the first job will determine your second and third job. So, or maybe not your job, maybe your transition within the company, right? You don't need to essentially change the company in order to get a better role, right? That's first thing we have to bear in mind. So that's how, I look at the things.
Okay. So last question I want to ask, that if there are many students who are applying for a job, and they are giving several interviews, but they are not able to crack the interviews. So what strategy they should follow to crack the interviews?
Right. So at Skill Edge, what we do is we publish the list of typical questions asked in the interview, right? And so there are other 2-3 categories. In the interview process, what interviewer is trying to judge is, he looks at, is this candidate really interested in this job? Has he prepared for the job, right? For example, I'll ask, things like, what do you understand about, let's say, finance analyst job profile, right? What does the finance analyst do? Why do you want this kind of a job? I'll also ask a company, do you know about my company? And, what do you know about my company? If, I'm an XYZ company, has he spent at least 5 minutes going to my website and looking at my company? So that is about, overall interest in the job, understanding of the job. The second is, I will basically test him on the communication skills. I will ask him typically to, introduce himself in 2 minutes, right? And I'm just judging, this person is now 23 years old or 21 years old. Can he at least tell about himself or herself in 2 minutes? Does he or she know how to talk about, whatever they have done in their entire 21 years in 2 minutes? What to tell? And sometimes, students tell, my younger brother or sister is working in this, in municipality. I mean, yes, you can say, I have a family and we have 5 members in the family, right? But you should move on, because those details are not important. You talk more about your education, your skills, certification, courses, and what you aspire for. So that is one thing. Third is, I look at their knowledge of basic concepts and advanced concepts. Basic concepts, if they don't know, I close the interview within 15-20 minutes, right? And I've actually interviewed thousands of people in last about 30 years. Typically, what I used to do is, I'll take somebody from my team and we have orchestrated everything. मैं बोल दूंगा, बॉस ये अगर ठीक नहीं है तो तुम बाद में मेरे बाद 10-15 मिनट वेस्ट करो अपना और बाय बाय बोल दो. Then I'll just pretend I've got some phone call and I walk out. Because that candidate, I don't want to waste time on him or her, right? Basic funda ही मालूम नहीं है. And then once basics are okay, I will ask the advanced concepts. And I'm willing to little bit adjust on the advanced concepts, मैं सिखा दूंगा, right? I will train on the job. But if somebody doesn't know the basic concepts, I will no way select that candidate. Absolutely no way. Because I'm not a training academy. Skill Edge is a training academy. As an employer, I'm not a training academy. Why should I waste my time and money in training somebody, right? You should do the productive work, he or she, right? So that is something that happens in the interview process, and the students have to understand that in a country like India, while we have a lot of opportunities, we also have a lot of competition, right? So they have to excel, they have to stand apart. When the interviewer interviews him or her, he should say, if this person joins the job, I am going to be relieved of my workload. I can go home on Friday evening at 5 o'clock, let him or her work. And that's typically what industry is about. That's the reality of life.
Okay. Sir, we have seen the lots of changes in our students once they are appearing for PIs. So in Skill Edge, we take several PIs. So what we do, we prepare Excel sheet and we record the status of all the PIs. So how a student, he or she has performed in first PI, we compare that first PI performance with last PI performance. And definitely we have seen lots of changes in our students. So thanks for enlightening our students, sir. And definitely once they will watch this video, so they will definitely get the benefit. And sir, again we will meet someday, and we will try to cover or take new topics. So thanks a lot, sir, for enlightening us. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Rushabh, and thanks, Ankit, sir. Thank you. Take care. Good night. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
See you.